Good morning, traders. It is Monday, April 1st, 2019. That means it is April Fool's Day, at least in the United States. I'm not sure how widespread this silly holiday is, but here in the US, certainly, if you're the type to be around people who like doing pranks, today is a day to beware. So just watch your back. I'm Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators, and as always, I'd like to remind you to please do subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and leave me feedback in the comments below if there's anything you would like me to do, analyze, tickers, symbols, timeframes, any of that good stuff. Please do put it in the comments, and I will do my best to explain anything that it is you want explained or analyze anything that you would like analyzed. All right, and with that, let's take a look at the markets this morning. And the ES, the S&P 500, is shaping up to potentially be handing us a beautiful, beautiful short opportunity. You can see very, very clearly here we are coming right up to challenge these highs, getting very close to it right now. Nice bullish morning already so far. You can see it on the 60-minute very clearly from overnight, just up, 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 up. For those doing your wave counts, you're looking at something like this. So we've got a very nice bullish push up this morning, and we're hitting right into that area. But look what our oscillator is doing. Weaker, 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 weaker. We've got 4 lower highs here. That is an extremely bearish sign. We just are waiting for the setup. So at the moment, I would, much as I said last week, I want to say it was last Tuesday, I think, I had pointed out that I didn't trust any upward move, and any up move in the first 30 to 60 minutes or so, I would probably be prepared to go the other direction at the first sign of weakness. So I'm feeling the same way now. We have already pushed right up into this area with the oscillator so weak. I am definitely just looking for any sign of weakness. The best sign for that is going to be on the shorter time frame across of the 0 line, because once that happens, you're definitely going to get some follow through. You're going to get at least one big push down or something like that before a bounce might be able to happen, and possibly more. So I am going to be watching very closely to see what happens. I'll be looking for divergence forming on the shorter term oscillator, which you could say we already have, because we've got a little higher high here that gave up with a doji, and the oscillator is just weakening the whole time. So for hours now, the oscillator is making it weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. The MACD line has actually already crossed below the signal line. So we've already sort of gotten our first signs that this is starting to give up the ghost. I would want to watch for, once the actual proper market is open, I would want to watch for a higher low to get broken on the shorter term time frame to the downside. Or, maybe if you want something a little bit more solid, a little more firm, maybe wait for the 21 EMA to break, something like that. I mean, you can see that recently the 21 EMA acted a nice support for this push up. Once it got over it, tested it, held above it, and then from there on, it has been a nice moving support line. So that's what I'm looking for. On the larger time frame, of course, a break of this trend line to the downside that holds would be a pretty good indication, because the last time it broke here, it just came right back above it pretty quickly. So we haven't had this break for a long time. I mean, ever since back here, this just has really held as support. So right now, just like I said, we're watching for that area right there, that high. That is going to be our really significant area. Maybe the market can push all the way up to it. Maybe not. I don't know if it's going to have the strength in it to get up there, or whether it will just give up early. But certainly you can see my pen back here. Last time it was up here, there was the high. This time there's the high, almost the same, and then give up. So just like here, we had to push up high, and then once that lower high was broken, higher low was broken, we had follow through, follow through, follow through, follow through, follow through. I'm expecting something similar here. We already have a congestion area here after this big push up, just as we had big push up here, congestion area. So this is looking to be just a repeat, a beautiful setup. So I'm really excited about this. This could be a great day of trading if it happens today, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe the market hangs in there for a day or two. Well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But so far, it's looking like an exact replay, pretty much. So going to have to see what the market does when that bell sounds. Now let's take a look at crude oil, and crude is still just hanging on to that trend line. It has hopped up over it, much like ES, what I was just pointing out. It broke down below, pushed above, broke down below, long tail there. The buyers came in, pushed above. 21 EMA acted as support, which it has done the whole time. It is just every time, anytime it gets below there, it gets bought back up, gets below, bought back up, below, bought back up, etc. So this is really holding strong. The bulls here are very, very determined, but we do have that weakening oscillator, which it's not a massive weakness here, but it is a lower high on the oscillator while price is making higher highs. So, you know, just tread lightly. Be careful, because a little correction could come at any time and would be due. You know, the most recent one we've had, if you could even really call it much of a correction, is this guy here, which wasn't a whole lot. It was just a very minor pullback, a little by the dip moment. And we might see the same kind of thing happen, or maybe we get a more severe correction. But at the moment, this uptrend looks to be very, very solid. So I'm thinking we'll have a pullback, form a higher low, higher than this one, maybe somewhere in here, maybe come back down and test this zone again, and this congestion area from the past, and then march higher. Or maybe we just get something like this, a consolidation area where it just sort of pulls back ever so slightly, but mostly just goes sideways for a period and then higher. So remember, markets 70% of the time, they are moving sideways. So just keep that in mind. But right now, bulls are very definitely in control. You can see that trend is definitely up. It's a nice angle as well. Let's actually take a look at what that angle is. If I start down here and go to about there. Whoops, hang on. I have that's not going to work. Let's try that again. Where's my trend line? And let's start from here and go to about there. The angle, it's a 20% angle. Or I start 20%, 20-degree angle. So it's not even all that steep, you know, to really be a steeper angle. We'd be looking at like 45. That would be a really beautiful, raging, strong, solid trend. Would be 45-degree angles. That's something like that. So right now, anyway, 20-degree angle. It's a pretty gentle trend. You can see if I go back to this trend back here. Whoops. Hello. Come on. Let's grab the dot. There we go. If I do on this trend here, that angle we were looking at, the trend line angle was about 48 degrees. So, you know, that's a bit more of a typical strong trend. If I actually go to the bottom of the candle, we're talking about 44 degrees, 43, 44 degrees. So this is a perfect textbook trend angle. This guy is gentle, which is not surprising for the start of a trend. It might start out kind of gentle, but typically as these evolve, they get steeper and steeper until they just cannot be sustained anymore. And then you get the final give up, you know, something that's just super, super steep, really, really sharp, and then finally turn around. So anyway, crude right now, definitely in a nice uptrend. So I'd be looking to play the long side on any kind of a dip. That would be the trade to be had there. So just watch the lower time frames and, you know, watch for a break below the zero line. And once it pulls down, you can either try to go when there's a maybe a double bottom formed, something like this, where we got very close to a double bottom here on a definitely higher oscillator, or you can wait for cross of the zero line to the bull side again and then just go in there. So that's crude oil. Let's take a look at gold. And gold has gotten kind of whacked. It got slapped down last week and is now back in this channel that it was stuck in for a good long while. This channel just does not want to give up. So right now we have, here was the high. We have then broken the higher low, established a lower low and a lower high. So this is not looking good short term for gold. If this low is broken, then we've got a lower low, and there's no question about it. We now have a downtrend happening, and we're looking at something like about that. And so that would be the trend line to look to be a seller when it gets to that trend line. Right now on the oscillator, it certainly has got the bears in control. Oscillator broke the zero line, came back up above it again briefly, and then just came right back below. So no question that the bears are currently in control, which isn't all that surprising because we had 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. This is a textbook oscillator divergence. 3 peaks, and it typically is in threes. We have 3 peaks up, 3 peaks down on the oscillator, and we're going to have a correction. And maybe or maybe not an actual bearish trend that forms, but certainly a correction. And we've had that, and now it looks like we're trying to form a bear trend. I mean, maybe we've double bottomed here. Maybe we're going to head up from here. That's possible. But we got to watch really closely this low. If this low is taken out and held, then we are looking for continuation to the downside. And in my opinion, we're looking at something around this 100% mark, which I had talked about before. This being looking like a bear flag to me, and that there's a good chance it was going to break to the downside. And sure enough, it did. Now we just need that follow through to really continue and fulfill the promise of that bear flag, which is about 100% extension. Shorter term time frames, certainly the bears rather were in very strong control here, pushed way below the zero line compared to where it had been recently. Right now, though, it's just kind of hanging around that area. It's trying to hang on. The bulls don't want to let go quite so easily. So right this moment, they are hanging in there. But we've got this zone overhead, which has already acted as resistance once. Price did just shoot right through it, break down, and then come back up to test, and it held. So right now, anyhow, bears still in control, but it's a fight. There's a definite battle going on. You can see that by the long wick on either side of the body on this green candle here. Certainly indicates a strong fight between the bears and the bulls yesterday. And for a Sunday, yesterday, Sunday here where I am in California, that was a pretty significant range. I mean, that was a bigger range than we've seen on some other normal market days. So wide range yesterday for a Sunday, and yet ended fairly much in the middle. It's not really a textbook doji, but it certainly was an indecisive, inconclusive day. Yeah, technically the bulls won, but it's not like they held it at the highs of the day or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins this battle. I am personally looking for some downside follow through. So we'll just have to see if we get that. MACD line has crossed the signal line to the downside already here. But we do have a stronger oscillator. Look how low the oscillator was there, and look how low it's gotten here. So is this a divergence shaping up? Don't know. I mean, technically we didn't make lower lows, so it's not really a textbook divergence, but certainly it's a strengthening oscillator. So watch for a break of the zero line that shows some strength, and then we might be recovering this trend, and maybe this little pullback is done. But keep an eye out for that continuation down to the 100% extension, because there's certainly a decent chance of that occurring as well. Shorter term time frame on the oscillator, you can see it is just playing below, above, below, above. It's definitely a fight going on there. No clear winner at the moment, so just going to have to wait and see what happens there, who's going to win, and trade accordingly. All right, let's take a peek at natural gas. And natural gas is just continuing to drift lower. However, we've got an up candle forming today. Perhaps the bulls are going to start trying to come in. We certainly have the oscillator showing not a whole lot of momentum. It's still very, very, very small range on the oscillator. MACD line is below the signal line, so technically speaking right now, the bear is in control, but only just barely. I mean, there's almost no gap between those two. There's just not any real excitement or conviction here at all. We've certainly got an oscillator that has been increasing in strength. Even right now, although it's technically below the zero line, it's still pretty close to the zero line. It's still holding up. Shorter term time frame, we do have a MACD line crossing the signal line here. So there is some sign of the bulls wanting to take charge of this. We need to watch out for a cross of the zero line. That will be a good indication that perhaps something is changing to the upside. But I mean, as we've seen here, you can have crosses of the zero line, and they don't necessarily mean a whole heck of a lot. But so basically, just be prepared. If you trade a bullish trade on a cross of the signal line, be prepared. Keep a sensible stop and watch yourself, and be prepared to jump out if necessary, and trade the other direction. Get with the winning team, as it were. Right now, anyhow, downtrend line shows the bears are still in control. Every time it gets to the downtrend line, it's a selling opportunity. So right now, I'm still looking for that to continue a bit more. Maybe we're going to get down here, double bottom, test this area again. There's a decent probability of that. And even below that, it's possible, because we do have a couple of zones down here that could be tested. Maybe we get one last lower low before we finally turn around and move higher in this market. We'll have to just wait and see. Or is this it? Is this whole low momentum area here going to be our consolidation zone, and then we're going to move up from there? We're going to have to just give it some time to see how it plays out. But right now, bears are in control. We still have lower lows and lower highs shaping up on the smaller time frame. So watch for across the zero line and trade accordingly. And let's finish up with Bitcoin. I see Silver by the Ounce said, thanks for the analysis. You're very welcome. Glad to see you here. Hope you have subscribed, and hope I will see you again in future analyses. All right, Bitcoin. Well. Crypto is getting interesting. It is certainly pushing up. We are really trying to get to highs. There's a ways to go, though. We've still got, if I zoom out a bit here, we've still got this sort of 44.15 area that it's got to climb over. And this climb has been just painful. Just little tiny increments. It's so small for Bitcoin. Little increment up and then a pullback, and little increment up and a pullback, little increment up, pullback. It's just, it's like, watching paint dry or something in this market. It's just desperately trying to creep up for the last number of weeks here. But it's doing it. I mean, we have gotten over this downtrend line here. The trend line, the 21 EMA is up. Oscillator has okay momentum. It's not staggering, not super exciting, but it's all right. There's some momentum there. MACD line has been really just playing with the signal line, just above, below, above, below, above. On the shorter term time frame, we've got something to be concerned about. However, we have a high, we have a higher high, we have a higher high, and then we have a even slightly higher high here. But look what the oscillator's doing. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, and even 4. This oscillator is getting weaker at every push up. So there are sellers up here. There are definitely sellers, and they are happily distributing their Bitcoin and selling into the strength. So I'd be very concerned about that. If I'm a crypto bull, I don't like this. This is not looking good. This is not looking safe. So I'd be very cautious trading to the long side here. If you are trading to the long side, make sure you protect your trades and just be ready to jump out at any moment. And if you're waiting for a short, you just might get your opportunity real soon. Watch for a cross of the zero line, and you're going to probably get some follow through after that, just like we did here. So that is what I'd be watching for. Definitely looking at a weakening oscillator. It's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. MACD line did cross above the signal line and then back below it. And it's been also on the shorter time frame just flirting with that signal line as well. Just going very sideways here for a little while, just a couple of days on the short time frame. So just be cautious to the long side, because things are looking like they are running out of steam. And we'll have to see what happens as we get closer to this 44.15 area. Do we give up the ghost or what? All right, that is it for my analysis this morning. ES hasn't done anything terribly exciting in the last 15, 20 minutes. So let's get ready for the market open in 25 minutes. I'm going to go get myself ready for our premium chat room. And those of you who will be in there this morning, I'll see you there very shortly. I'll probably jump in about 5 or 10 minutes or so. And Tom will be following me probably right behind, and then we will get started on his analysis and see what he sees in the market today and what the market has in store for us, and see if he can't hand us some more beautiful calls and beautiful trades this week, just like last week. All right, everybody. Again, reminding you, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. To those new subscribers that have joined the channel, hello, welcome. Great to see you here. And to those who may be new to the channel and new to our community and are possibly taking our class at the end of April, I can't wait for that. It's going to be a ton of fun. I really look forward to seeing you all there, seeing you again for those of you I've seen before, and meeting you for the first time for those of whom I have not met. So that's it for me today. Jonathan Van Clute with Stock Navigators, wishing you a great day of trading ahead. I will do this again on Wednesday and Friday. So until then, happy April Fool's Day. Take care. Bye-bye.